Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Vincent Omurwa. In today's video, we are going to talk about a theory. A theory is very important in the study of a given phenomena. The word theory comes from a Greek verb theoria, which means to contemplate or to speculate. According to Parsons, in 1964, he argued that a theory is simply a system of laws. A theory is a system of laws. Galton, in 1985, advanced this argument by saying that a theory is a set of assumptions structured by a relation of implication or inference. Kaplan, in 1964, also defined a theory as a group of related generalizations that indicate new observations, which can be empirically tested for the purpose of explaining or predicting a phenomena. Stam, in 2007, defined a theory as a systematic organization of knowledge which can be applied for the purpose of problem solving. Therefore, we can say that a theory is a set of assumptions that are structured by a way of relation, of implication, or inference. Stam, in 2007, provided three worldviews of a theory. He argued that a theory has three worldviews, that is, reductionism, instrumentalism, and realism. In reductionism, he argued that a complex structure is nothing but a combination of the various parts that make up that structure, which means that any complex structure can be broken down into various components that actually make up that structure. Which means that if you want to understand a given phenomenon, the best approach is to break that complex structure into various components, and then you study each component in isolation. And once you have understood the characteristics of the components that make up that structure, then holistically you can actually argue that now you have understood that given phenomena. On the other hand, in instrumentalism, he argued that theories are useful instruments in understanding the world and are best defined as nothing more than mere instruments. In other words, a theory is an instrument that we use to understand our surroundings, the phenomena under study, and the complex systems that we study. And therefore, the usefulness of a theory lies in its ability to predict or to predict or to explain a given phenomena. Lastly, in the realism context, he argued that there is a world outside our mind that can be described in terms of science. That is, there is a real view of the world independent of our perception. The essence of a theory in social science is to study and predict a phenomena. It assists us in systematic analysis of a given situation. And therefore, to use a theory to explain a phenomena, one has to state what that theory is all about. You have to define what that theory is. You have to explain the suitability of that theory to that particular context. Then you also need to explore various writers that have developed this theory. Each theory has proponents or people that have contributed intellectually for the growth of that theory. And therefore, you need to look at all these writers and the various aspects of the development of that theory which they advance. For example, if you are studying realism, you look at writers like Thucydides, uh, Machiavelli, Thomas Hobbes, Hans Morgenthau, and many others that have contributed to the development of a realist theory. Each writer brings a certain aspect and perspective to that theory. Then lastly, you need to identify the key assumptions of that theory and apply those key assumptions of that theory in explaining your phenomena. For example, if it is realism and you are arguing that the state is a unitary actor, you need to look at instances where it can be argued that the state's decisions are actually the decisions of the state and not and cannot be separated from the state to say these are the actions of the opposition or these are the actions of those in government. Realism does not look at the internal structure of a state. It just concludes that the actions of those who act in the name of the state, those are the actions of the state. So that is the essence of a theory in social science, and that is how a theory is supposed to be used to explain a given phenomena in as far as social science and the entire study is concerned. Therefore, the relevance of a theory in social science cannot be overestimated. It is an instrument to explain or to predict a given phenomena. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe for more of the videos of this kind. See you. Bye bye.